Well, welcome to Caching in the Northwest. You know, this is the official podcast of GeoWoodstock 18 right here in the Great Pacific Northwest. Each week, we're going to talk about caches and cachers from here and all around the globe. So while you're staring at the beautiful harvest moon, we'll be caching in the Northwest.
Oh, yeah, full moon tonight, too. Yeah. That, of course, means it's time to bring in our loopy lemur. Some say Freddy Krueger has nightmares about him. And others say he eats earth caches for breakfast. All we know is he's called Len Monkey.
Tell you one thing, they're crunchy.
Mm.
But if you let them sit in the bowl long enough with the milk, not so hard to eat.
You know the Cheerios highest on the bowl dry first? It's because they're closer to the sun.
Ooh.
Ah, is that...
Little science moment. Little science moment right here. Yeah, I had to provide an earth cache answer about that.
There you go. There you go. Hey, it is good to be here. It is Thursday night. It is time to shut down the internet with my friends. And just for a little extra internet shutting down help, we have brought in an extra friend tonight. It is Subway Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hey there. How you guys doing? Good to be here.
We are doing well. And
wonderful to have you, Mark.
Thank you.
Always glad you're here.
All of those things.
Yes.
Indeed. And you know what else is wonderful?
What?
And
the Nymo bars?
And well, yes. But something else that is wonderful and is also Mark is our patrons.
True.
And yeah, we are very thankful for all of our patrons, and we appreciate the support that they bring us coming each and every week. And a special thanks to Land Sharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. And folks, if you want to know more about supporting this show, click on that Patreon link on the cachingw.com website. Wow. Not sure why I blanked out on that, but patreon.com.
I threw him off enough he didn't say a website.
A website. I know. I threw myself off.
Wow.
Nobody even needs to help anymore.
It's, you know what it is? It's the full moon.
It could be.
It very well is.
What else does the full moon do?
It glows. And it glows a bit orange. Last night I saw it, and it was just, worthwhile to call my family up. Come and look at the moon. It was worth it.
Very orange.
It's cool. It's just unfortunate the reason it's doing that. But yeah.
Because it's... well, anyway.
No, because smoke. That's why.
A little bit, but...
Smoke gets in my eyes.
It's the time of the year. You must be alive if smoke gets in your eyes.
That's right.
And smoke on the water. Fire in the sky.
And here we go. Folks, it's time for the glow. That's the geocaching log of the week. Whether you read it or whether you wrote it.
I'm hurting.
Whether you read it or whether you wrote it, we want to hear about it. Wow. It must be the full moon.
See?
It is.
I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
Just wait till I stumble over the glow.
Ooh. It's your turn. As soon as I say my line, because great logs simply make geocaching better. Send in your email, a field recording to feedback@cachingnw.com. You can call into 253-693-TFTC and show us how you glow. And folks, we need your glows.
All right. You didn't stumble over the phone number at all. Well done.
Yeah, no kidding. I'm impressed.
Oh, thank you.
So the glow this week is called She'll Be Coming, and it's from GC1D8, logged by the Lime Cat. The log says, "This one has been on my radar for a long time. A rare date, a beautiful hike, and one of the oldest caches in Washington. This listing sure is distinguished. We planned a spur-of-the-moment trip to Wenatchee today to nab a soon-to-be archived oldie overlooking the valley. We were not about to leave without hiking to this one as well. Trip reports indicated that the Round Mountain TH, I think that's a travel hotel? No? What's a TH?
Trailhead.
Trailhead. There you go. See, this is how I don't get out and hike much. We don't have trailheads here on the freeway.
They're on and off ramps. Same thing.
Ah, the Ausfahrt. The Round Mountain Trailhead was a viable point of access even for our dinky, low-clearance city slicker car. Indeed, it proved to be so. Recent work has made it easily passable. The short hike to Ground Zero was quite nice. Although it was raining back home for most of the day, the weather here was only partly cloudy, and we had expansive views of the surrounding territory, including Lake Wenatchee. The Round Mountain Trail is in desperate need of some TLC, but how difficult can 1.5 miles be? We jumped off the Nason Ridge Trail where Phil George recommended. I felt a slight pang of guilt for crushing through the tender alpine meadow with a dog in tow. I tried to place my feet very carefully, but my dog had no such worries. She was on the scent of a large elk, which we saw as we re-entered the forest. It's easy to forget how large an animal they are until they're standing right in front of you. We only saw the one, but it headed off in the other direction pretty quickly. There may have been any number hidden just out of view. The rest of the off-trail excursion was uneventful, though the dog was on high alert the entire time. Once we reached Ground Zero, I checked out the listing and came to realize that it contained precious little info. But that didn't turn out to be a problem, as I spotted the cache after looking up. It's missing a latch, but is otherwise unharmed and bone dry. The original log is in great shape. Thanks for bringing us up here.
Nice. Now, I'm thinking I'm going to have to get out there and get that cache quickly.
Yeah.
A weekend trip.
Okay. And that's the little tip there that I offer a lot of new caches. If you ever stumble around and you can't find a cache, here's a tip. Look up.
Yes.
'Cause
I often forget that.
yeah, I'm so busy pawing around for, unusual piles of sticks under tree roots and things that, yeah.
It can be
There you go.
right over
And
your head the whole time.
Hey,
Hey,
for that. Oh, there you go. He's
Hey.
over there. He's
What
over
are you doing down there?
You guys behave yourselves over there.
Ah, why start now?
okay,
that's
Stephanie.
I was just going to say, anytime I think of that particular cache, because it's near the city of Leavenworth, I think of the city of Leavenworth. And anytime I think of the city of Leavenworth, I think
Woody Goomsba.
That's right.
Oh, I love Woody Goomsba.
Ah,
I don't have Woody Goomsba here, but I do have my wind-up hopping lederhosen.
there you go.
There you
It's
go.
almost the same thing.
And
Yes.
why wouldn't you?
Ein Prosit de Lederhose. He goes with the electronic yodeling pickle.
You know what? I think it's time to change the Caching in the Northwest theme song.
Oh, there we go.
There you go.
The
Boy.
pickle hasn't made an appearance for a while. I thought it was time.
Just,
Jeez.
Unfortunately, once the
you-
pickle makes an entrance, you can't stop that playback. So
that's a phrase we should never use again.
okay.
Okay. And if that's going to be our new theme song, make sure you get batteries for your pickle.
Yodeling pickle.
Okay, we need to change topics desperately now.
He
Well,
wears lederhosen in the picture, except it doesn't work over chroma key because he's green.
He's transparent.
Yeah.
Mount Angel, Oregon is having their Zoo House Oktoberfest this weekend.
Ooh.
You pre-ordered your food and beer, and then you drive to pick it up, and then you go home and then watch the entertainment from your house at the Zoo
cool.
House.
Zoo house.
Oh, that's yeah, interesting and a shame all at the same time.
It is. It is.
GSM times 2 says Mark, run. There's still
Okay,
time.
bye.
Yeah.
Wow. Drexler wants to know if we're in the after show already.
It's, you're late.
Wheels are coming off like CSX 8888.
It's a full moon.
It's that's the only reason we're giving tonight. Hey folks, if you
What
want to
other
join
news
in
do we have?
in whatever we've got going here, it could be the main topic. It already is the after show. I'm not sure where we are. Use the hashtag travel and you can get into tonight's show. And of course, you could always use the hashtag FATAS to talk about a topic in the after show. Maybe like an event you're going to. Oh, wait. Maybe like a... I don't know what you're going to talk about in the after show, but whatever it is, hashtag FATAS. Now, there is a little bit of news this week. I don't know if you know it, but coming up is Earth Cache Weekend. I need a echo for that.
Earth Cache Weekend.
Good job.
Best weekend of the year.
Yeah.
Also
Now-
known as Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Also known as you're welcome. Because I will continue, as long as geocaching exists, to take credit for Earth Cache Weekend.
Well, you know, you're vlogging and Fine Road alone will keep it going. Never mind.
well beyond 2020.
I heard that somewhere.
I've heard that somewhere recently. Yes, very recently. In fact, earlier this evening. Yeah.
You know, you can learn more about the Earth and how it was formed through history on Saturday, October 10th and Sunday, October 11th. After that, you don't learn about Earth anymore.
I remember it well.
You got one weekend.
Celebration of International Earth Cache Day, which is 2 days.
That's why
The
it's
official
Earth Cache Weekend.
souvenir for completing your research and receiving your smiley. The whole weekend is dedicated to conducting experiments live in the field, making observations and hypotheses, or learning about what once existed, whether it's dinosaur footprints, a rock face of a mountain, or the Grand Canyon.
What about Primeval World?
Okay.
That comes just after the Grand Canyon on the
does.
Disneyland Railroad.
It does.
Yeah.
I knew where you were going with that. It's been a long time since I've been to Disneyland, but I knew where you were going with that.
It's been a long time since anybody has been to Disneyland
That's
right
true.
now.
Correct.
That is true. Very cool.
When
Yes.
it opens up, it should be very clean and fresh. They've had all this time to do maintenance.
It better be.
It better be.
All right.
don't
Well,
know.
I
I
am
think so.
excited for Earth Cache Weekend. It's
I bet you are.
the funny thing is though, because I am or the random glacial erratic, yeah. Because I enjoy Earth Cache Weekend so much, and I always want to make sure that I am able to get the souvenir. I always leave a number of Earth caches within an easy drive of my house. So I have a selection of which I can choose from. And
Really?
unfortunately, there's been some newer ones that have popped up recently. So that helps.
Or you could just binge and do them all.
Oh, he
It's
will.
tempting. It's tempting, but
UDAC says the nearest Earth cache is 13.8 miles away, and it doesn't look too difficult. That's almost the exact distance my nearest Earth cache is away from me. And, you know, I save them for times like this.
there you
And
go.
the fact that I don't like to do them. But, I
Oh.
mean, save them for Earth Cache Weekend.
There you go.
Landshark says, one year we had to miss Earth Cache Day. We flew from Charlottetown at 6 a.m. and landed in Victoria after midnight. We had planned to nab an Earth Cache on the way home, but from a delay we had in Toronto.
Now you see, that won't be a problem anymore because now it's Earth can't, thanks to Land Monkey.
Yeah.
I'm
Wow.
just saying, you're welcome.
Blasphemy, Chris. Everybody likes to do Earth Caches.
We
Except
know
for
it's.
Mrs. Land Monkey.
I was gonna say, we know it's all about Land Monkey. He puts pictures of other people, but only he shows up in the thumbnails.
I know. I tried to do something nice for International Podcast Day. I've got a picture of me and Jim and Signal, and I've got a picture of Chris and I at GeoCoin Fest 2 years ago with all the puppets. I thought, oh, what a great pair of pictures. I'll put those up. And I write up, it's International Podcast Day, and just I want to thank my friends who I podcast with who make it so much fun. Whatever I wrote, something like that. And then Facebook crops the two photos, so it's just me in both photos. I'm like, are you kidding me?
That's awesome.
It's like, oh well, whatever. Everybody expects me to do that anyway. So.
Oh yeah, it's all about you.
It's all about you. All
Yeah.
roads lead to Land Monkey.
All roads lead to Monkey. Yeah.
GSM times 2 wants to know, I wish they would give us credit for setting an Earth Cache.
Now there's an idea.
You should get twice the credit.
Well, you used to be able to get badges and such for that.
Badges? We don't need no stinking badges.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, but yes.
Let's see. UDAC also said, can't wait to travel to Seattle again.
Awesome.
I do it on a regular
Safely
basis. It's
travel.
Yeah. I was going to say, I commute there on a regular basis, and I always wonder if it's going to be a safe trip.
Nothing to do with global pandemics.
Yeah. No.
Little details.
Just Seattle. Hey, you know what? We've got Mark with us tonight.
Subway Mark. Hi, Mark.
He hasn't run away yet.
Hello.
Hello.
We haven't gone too much off the rails. See, Subway, rails.
Ah.
Yeah. Mark, there may be a listener out there who doesn't know who you are. Could you tell us just a little bit? I mean a little bit about yourself.
My name's Mark. Hi.
Okay, good.
Good job.
Were you the unnamed locomotive engineer for CSX 8888?
No.
Okay, good.
But my cash name is Subway Mark. There's a little bit more. And I live in Oregon.
Keep going.
And I think I like trains.
Okay. We know he's near Borough Hall, but we don't know where Borough Hall is, so we're moving
Hall behind his head.
Borough Hall's behind my head, but it's actually from Brooklyn. That's where I grew up.
There you go.
You know, I don't know if I knew that.
Yep.
I might have learned something new tonight.
There you go. I grew up in Brooklyn.
Okay. Okay. I have a question to ask you, Mark. Are you ready? Just so our listeners can get to know you a little better.
All righty.
What is something you get wrong almost every time you do it?
Commas in sentences.
The difference between let's eat grandma and let's eat grandma.
That's so true story. When in first year in college in English class, the professor asked, "Okay, please write an essay on what's your worst thing in writing," and I did a whole thing on commas, and then he commented back, "Yep."
Yep.
Thank you for the evidence.
Thank you for showing me. And Grammarly, I use Grammarly, and Grammarly is correcting me all the time.
Oh, yes.
There you go.
How do you feel about the Oxford comma?
I use it now constantly. So I didn't used to, but now I understand why you should use it.
I'm a big fan.
Yep. It's good to pause.
Maybe I should become a fan. I've not been a fan all these years, and well,
let's not pause before you.
Too long of a pause. Sorry.
Yeah.
You pause before the and.
And
yes, the William Shatner comma.
Yes. I was waiting for that to pop up. There it is. Yeah.
Well played, Komakino.
The William Shatner comma.
Yes, I am Subway Mark. Today.
UDAC's a big fan of the Oxford comma too. UDAC wants to know, is Subway Mark still taking the subway? I asked because public transit use is down in my part of the country because of COVID-19.
I haven't been on a train or anything since last time I was in the train was in Puerto Rico on a cruise in February.
Are you shaky? Have you gone through the stages of withdrawal?
I am in. I'm still in denial phase.
Okay.
I cry, but I am going to New York next Friday. So towards the end of the trip, I will be on the subway before I get on the airplane and head back home.
Okay.
And infect all those people, I guess, on the plane.
Yeah, there you go.
What a nice guy! You're
Way to
always
be a team player. Yeah.
That's I don't want to do it before I visit my family. So
Yeah, if you're going to screw somebody over, screw over strangers, not your family. That makes sense.
that sounds awful.
Okay, well, we're not here to talk about infecting people. We are here to talk about Mark's recent travels, not his future travels, because he went somewhere and got loopy or something along those. Where did you go, Mark?
Around the eastern perimeter of Oregon. So basically trying to go to the least populous parts of the state of Oregon, but I did wind up in Boise, but also into the very southeast Washington area as well. And if there's a map of it. And maybe I could share my screen, or you want to share? Let's see. Whip, I just did.
I was trying to do that, and my computer's got all funky.
It's the full moon.
Oh, yes.
Share screen.
Land monkey's always funky.
Just just
He's
trying
getting funky with it.
to help the computer. I don't know.
You got the funky monkey, baby.
Let's just take the funk out of the computer.
There it is. There's that chicken.
So it looks like a chicken.
Yeah.
Not any kind of chicken I'm familiar with, but okay.
But you can see it. I started in
Big
Salem. Salem, got down to Klamath Falls, dipped into California, went to Lakeview, Oregon, dipped into Nevada, and then out to Boise, and then up through to Lewiston, Clarkston, then to Walla Walla, and then back home.
Walla
And
Walla.
I'm not mistaken.
I did not do that in 26 hours. That's just what Google says.
That's just what Google says it would take nonstop. Yeah.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken, that's 5 states.
That would be correct.
So, Mark, I'm curious. You do dip into a couple of states there, into California, and then again into Nevada, and then I can kind of see going over into Boise because you're close to a major city there, so dip over there. But with the California and Nevada, is that just because that's the way the highways went, or like did you have to detour around a mountain or something, or what took you down into those?
So I could have gone from K Falls to Lakeview without leaving the state, and I could have gone to Lakeview to Boise easily without going through a state. But I had several goals along this trip, and one of them was to complete all the counties in Oregon. I had 3 that I needed to get: Lake, Wallowa, and Mulhare counties, and so that's part of the route. But also, we have our current dog. He hasn't been to California and Nevada yet. And he needs to add P states to his map.
Oh, of course.
So that's very important. So one of the first stops after crossing the border is, he has to get out of the car and mark it.
No, it's his state.
It's his state now.
So what app are you using to track this?
To track the route?
To track where your dog is marked?
I don't know, but I have a good friend that when he signed the papers on his house, he drank a lot of tea and went out late at night and marked his own backyard.
Oh, why not? It's his house.
That's right. Yeah.
So I use Google Maps, but I also I did pocket queries too to find caches along the route too. Because the other thing is I wanted to get as many counties along the way, and there's the counties in California and in Nevada I have never cached in. So that was also not just a P stop, but also a cache stop.
P cache stop.
Got to get those in the right order.
Yeah.
That's correct. Okay. And also, I was closing on my 5,000th fine, and I had to figure out how I was going to do that. But I also had other goals along the way. I think I like trains, and so
is that a question?
I think I do.
Okay.
So I had to find old train stations, because that's one of my new goals, is to document old stations before they disappear. And then there's remnants of the old trolley lines out in Boise and Lewiston and Walla Walla. So I wanted to document those before they go away too.
Cool. When you say old trolley lines between those cities, is that between those cities?
Oh,
old trolley lines.
Old trolley in Boise. Boise had a streetcar system, and then also in the Treasure Valley, which Boise is, there was an interurban loop that went around the valley out towards Caldwell. And then in Lewiston, between Lewiston and Clarkston, just going across the Snake River, was a trolley line for a few years. And then Walla Walla also had a streetcar, and then an interurban line that went down to Milton Freewater in Oregon.
Very cool.
Nice. Now, Mark, you said you used a couple of different ways to make this route, this circle, this chicken around Oregon. What did you use to plan a trip like this?
Yeah, so I used a little bit of Google Maps and pocket queries, caching along a route. One of the things I did when it was Google Maps showed several routes, especially between Lakeview and Boise to go. One was one where it's like, okay, I've been along that way before, but the most direct way that they said to do was to go dip slightly into Nevada and then go along this road that for 65 miles until you got to the main highway again. And I decided, oh, let me look at that road. So I did some research. And, oh, that's 65 miles of gravel road, which my SUV wouldn't mind, but I think my Muggle wife would not like that for 65 miles.
Yeah, that's a bit much.
Oh, come on.
There was also some other routes. There were some forest fires raging, and I wanted to avoid those. So
that seems like a good idea.
Yes, but it was an interesting route. Parts of the states I've never seen before, so that was kind of awesome. The only thing I wish is I downloaded all this to my handheld GPSR because when driving, I don't like using my phone for that because it just drives me nuts. So I have my handheld. I do have a built-in nav unit, my Honda CR-V, which is a Garmin unit, but it does not accept GPX files.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I know, it's annoying.
We need to find a way to fix that.
So close.
So close. That would be awesome.
A lot of those units have SD card slots that you can upload waypoints into.
I was going to say, if anybody could figure out how to fix that, it would be Jim.
I can update the map via VIA maps via the USB port, but I tried to use Garmin Connect to dump waypoints into it. It wouldn't do it.
That's a bummer.
I can do one cache at a time if I want from my phone into the Garmin, but that's it.
Well, that gives something for your wife to do while you're driving.
Okay.
Could you upload the next cache while we're driving?
Because that'll go over well. You thought 65 miles of gravel road wasn't going to go over well?
And I could just see her now, and it's like, the cache was only a mile away. Why are we driving 50 miles the other way?
Honey, you put the coordinates in. I'm just driving.
I know.
Well, since we're here.
Right. Speaking of being there, is there anything else that you planned along the way or anything?
Yeah, so a couple of weeks prior to my Boise trip, there were a couple of friends of mine from Portland who were caching in the Boise area, and they were posting on Facebook all these photos and stuff like that of some really great caching locations. And then I was chatting with them, and all of a sudden I had to add more to my plans than I originally planned. And they said that, as Three Mud Dog said, sorry, not sorry.
Yeah.
So a couple of those was Idaho's initial point, GC 484, which is the Boise Meridian, where all distances for Idaho are measured. And it was established back in 1867.
That's cool.
That
and it's
cool.
It's in the middle of, it's like 20 miles south of Boise, and on just this little butte. And there was a gravel road to go up there, and my car was going up it, and then it was getting a little more rocky. And my wife says, "So you really want to take your new car on that?"
Yeah.
And then it was the rocks were getting worse. And I said, "I'll park here. You just wait. The air conditioner's running. I'll go the rest of the way." and then after I found the cache, which has great views of the whole area, I get back to the car, and she says, "How are you getting down?" Backing her up. And she's like, "Really? Well, do you see a turnaround?"
With a backup camera, right?
It has a backup camera.
There you go.
It's done.
So did the dog choose the air conditioning or to travel with you?
He preferred to stay in the air conditioning.
Okay.
Because it was hot. It was hot.
Is that a Mark? Is that a virtual cache or a physical cache?
It was a physical cache right by it.
Oh, neat. Okay.
Yep, just on the hillside right below it. But it's a prominent monument that's in concrete and such like that. So it's still an active location.
Very cool.
Interesting. Is there one of those in every state?
There's one in Oregon, the Willamette Meridian. There's 30. I think I read there's 30 of them.
Interesting.
Across the country.
I hadn't heard of it before.
That's one for each Major League Baseball team.
Oh, okay. That's probably what they're using.
I'm sure that's what it's for. Yeah.
Okay.
So there's one in Toronto as well then?
Sure.
Sure.
I'm confused. Okay.
It's okay. We're playing in the U.S. right now anyway, right?
Yeah, it's true.
They wouldn't let them play in Toronto.
Nope. Same with the hockey teams.
Then I think Mr. Monkey may like this. There was nearby. There was an Earth cache. I know.
What?
Don't get excited.
Yeah.
It's called Kuna Cave. It's GC5NYHC, and they said I had to do it, so I did. It's in the middle of nowhere. It basically pasture lands all around it, and all of a sudden you come up to this hole in the ground that has a fence on it with a ladder to climb down into a lava tube.
That's pretty cool.
That is cool.
That was really, really cool. And
I might even be interested in doing that Earth cache.
And when I was, what was really cool is after I got down and the sun was coming at a certain angle, and because it was so dry, I kicked up the dirt, and then it caused a sun shadow that was just pretty godlike coming into the cave.
Nice. Did you get some photos?
Yes. Yep.
Very cool to see that sometime. That's very neat.
Nice. So very cool. Now, where is that Kuna Cave Earth cache? I mean, what part of the state?
It's Meridian. If you go straight south of Meridian, about 20 miles.
Okay.
And Meridian's named because it's on the Idaho Meridian.
Oh, huh. Who would have come up with such a name?
Wow, I know. It's pretty. It's pretty cool area. It's just. I mean, it's literally nothing. Once you get out of the urban area, it's pretty nothing.
That could be a weekend trip.
There's big open spaces of nothing in Idaho like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's pretty.
So, Mark, there were other caches that you said you had to do. What were some of the caches you had planned to do?
Yeah, so I wanted to avoid the power trails. I just don't. If I do a power trail, I get about to 20, and it's like, okay, I've lost interest. I just
you last longer than I do.
yeah, it just gets exhausted pretty quick. But there's a lot of there are a lot of geo trails around the Boise area, and including geo art. There's a famous one of the steam locomotive geo art on BLM land. But I might consider that if I drive an ATV. But my snuggle muggle is patient, but she ain't that patient.
Fair enough.
But I was going after a lot of virtuals. There was a lot of old virtuals in the Treasure Valley area, and then Earth caches and traditionals, and then adventure labs. That was all targeting. Some of the older virtuals, though, they probably shouldn't exist anymore. They've kind of lost the original intent. Sometimes the question you're supposed to answer, it doesn't even. There's nothing there for it anymore. It's just gone. But in downtown Boise, there's a great one called the Anne Frank Virtual, GC 9071, and it's the Anne Frank Memorial right there. I didn't even know there was a memorial to Anne Frank in Boise, and it's really beautifully done. It has quotes from her diaries, also quotes from famous people, and then people who have been oppressed and stuff like that from all over the world. It's very moving.
Nice.
What's the connection between Boise, Idaho, and Anne Frank?
Yeah, so I had to figure. So I read the plaque there. It's about in the early 2000s. There was an Anne Frank exhibit that came to Boise, a traveling exhibit, and the local residents were so moved by it, they said we have to create a permanent one.
Wow.
So it was a local grassroots effort to put this in.
Fascinating. That's really interesting,
cool.
Mark.
Yeah, all because of geocache. I learned that.
There you go. Things that one must do and things that one learns through geocaching.
That's correct.
Another way that we learn things and find some cool things are adventure labs. You said that you enjoyed a couple of those.
Yep. So in this COVID-19 world, adventure labs are perfect because you don't have to touch anything. So you just have to find what you're supposed to be looking for and answer it. So that's what I like. And a lot of them tell a story or give history of the area, which is that's my caches are usually about something about the area. So that's why I like the adventure labs. And when I was planning this trip, I didn't realize that Lewiston had an old trolley car that was an old Lewiston car, and it was all because of Adventure Lab that I knew that I had to go to Lewiston, and that's why Lewiston got added to the list to go to.
Okay,
there you go.
That's funny.
And then what I like about Adventure Labs in urban areas is I can take my dog and I don't have to go around in circles and circles looking for a cache in an urban environment, and my dog saying, "What the hell are you doing?"
The dog can go around in circles, and you can say, "What are you doing?"
That's right.
Yeah, just let the dog look like the dog's leading. That's all.
I try that. I do use him as a ruse every so often.
As you should.
That's right.
In the chat, Peach adds that Pete and I did that cache a couple of years ago, and we're very impressed with the garden where the Anne Frank Memorial is.
Oh, nice.
Very cool.
All right, so you dropped a little tidbit there about a 5,000 milestone a while back. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I try to keep for any double aught cache, 00, I reserve something that's railroad related. But this was 5,000, so this something for me that means I have to go one step further. It's not just railroads, but it has to be something electric railroads, like streetcars or subways or something like that. And at the beginning of this year, I was on track to hit 5,000 in June, and I thought about taking a trip to visit my mom in June to New York, and I picked out this perfect geocache for this milestone. It's called the F Train, the New York Subway Multicache Series Part 1, GC8FJYC, and it's along the F line in Brooklyn. So you had to get off at a few stops, answer a couple of questions, and then you would be able to figure out where the final is. And all of it was all along the F line. So that was going to be perfect. But as plans change and pandemics rage, that kind of fell off the face of the earth. So now it's coming up to August, and I started thinking about we need to get out of town. I needed to burn some vacation. And so I said, okay, well, maybe 5,000 will happen on this trip, and using Adventure Labs, I used it instead of power caching to boost my numbers, so I could make that happen. And I figured out that I would be in Boise right about when that would happen. And Boise did have a streetcar and an urban system, and the system went around the Treasure Valley as far west as Caldwell. And guess what? There's some geocaches named for the interurban.
Oh.
So my goal was called. The cache was called Along the Interurban, GC1 G8BF. I did have a couple of backup railroad-related ones, but that was my goal, just in case I couldn't find it, because that would be really bad.
Yeah.
But I mapped out the day. The day I picked was the day I was following the interurban line out of Boise in the clockwise loop, and I timed it perfectly with all the geocaches to make that the number 5,000. So I love it when a plan comes together.
Indeed.
Nice.
And the cache was kind of on the interurban line. It was actually, there was a little canal there. It was on the other side of the canal, because where the interurban line now is a restricted area, because that's Boise's drinking water.
Oh.
So they don't like you going out that way. But the cache was pretty awesome in the woods, so that was fun. And after that, I decided I had to give myself a prize for that. So about continuing along the interurban line, one of the stops was in Star, Idaho, and the building still exists. It's now a coffee shop, and it serves beer. So my wife had coffee, I had a beer.
It's my kind of coffee shop.
Yeah.
And my dog Dylan, he really enjoyed doing it too. So, and they had an outdoor patio, so he was happy.
Nice.
Did he have a puppuccino?
No, but we were stopping at Dutch Brothers a lot, and he had a puppuccino at every single one.
I just learned that this is a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So he started seeing those windmills, like, stop that one? How about that one?
That's right. He does. He does. He knows when we barely get into the driveway of one.
So Trexer shares in the chat, I can't fathom lining everything up to make a milestone work while traveling.
It's work.
It is work. I have done it a number of times, and I have an entire spreadsheet devoted to planning those kinds of things out. But yeah, it's you definitely have to plan a lot to make it.
I also noticed back here, Komakino shared, he didn't know about the trolley car in Lewiston either till that adventure lab that he did in August with the kid. He says, and he grew up in Lewiston.
Huh.
There you go.
So, yeah.
There you go.
The things geocaching takes you to.
Is Lewiston a bigger town, or is it?
It's a small city with Clarkston on the western side of the Snake River.
Yeah, Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and,
Lewiston,
I did
Clarkston.
pick up on the whole Lewis and Clark thing
Yeah.
there.
Yep.
they stopped there on their way back home.
He says, I'm going to have a town. Well, I'm going to have one too then.
That's right. But Lewis got the bigger of the two. Lewis is bigger than Clarkston.
He was compensating for something. Probably his cup of coffee was smaller or something.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because the railroad station was in Lewiston and Clarkston didn't have the train. So
Oh. Well, you took the last train to Clarkston. No,
That's right.
That's different.
I'll meet you at the station.
that's right.
Meet you at 4:30. Don't need no reservation.
Right.
Let's get back to Mark. He's traveling around the loop of a weird chicken.
That's right.
While on your chicken
Which
loop,
came
did you have any other interesting stops? You know, okay, we've done the drumsticks. Apparently, we're up to the breast now, and then I don't know where we're going from there.
Well, so I'll go around the loop a little bit. So the first night was in Klamath Falls, and we stayed at a hotel there, and there was a cache right behind the hotel. I didn't even pick it out until after I got there. It's like, oh, there's a cache right behind the hotel. It's called Choo Choo.
Seems up your alley.
So it's like, okay, and it's on a caboose. That turned to be a bit devilish. There was a dog park right next to it, so every time I went there, my dog would loved it because I had to keep going back out because I couldn't find it. I actually had to get a hint from the CEO, and he gratefully gave me one, so it made me find it. But my dog didn't care. He was going to the dog park several times, so he was happy.
Bonus for him.
He's a good boy.
He is a good boy. And then on the way to Lakeview via California, one of the things I had to stop for, not just caching, but was the Tule Lake internment camp for the Japanese. There's nothing there other than a memorial, but the cache is 1 of 10, GC3Q FC5. 1 of 10 means there were 10 internment camps during World War II across the country. It's a very tragic part. But then there was an earth cache outside of Alturas, California, called Chimney Rock Formations. That is pretty darn cool to see that kind of formation. I've never seen those before. And it's GC1VWJW.
I have to go look that up after the show.
Yeah.
Sorry. Doramore wants to know, did Mark say he did the loop in a clockwise direction?
He probably did.
Doramore, you win.
Well, actually, the Oregon loop itself, that was a anti-clockwise.
Okay. Mark, you were warned to run away. Just
I know it's bad.
And I think they were just warning about us.
yeah.
Now we have help.
And then our stop in Lakeview, which is the new county for me, Lake County, we stayed at a little motel that happened to be, the earth cache was right on the grounds of the hotel because it's an old geyser. I can't tell you the name of the geyser because that would give away the answer in the question. But it's GC23CK7. The geyser, unfortunately, wasn't going off when I was there because the water levels were pretty low. And the geyser happened because of man. It wasn't there originally. They were drilling for water, and
Well, they hit it.
and the geysers happened. And now it's a mineral hot springs.
Right.
There.
Fascinating.
Interesting. I didn't know there were man-made geysers. Makes sense.
Well, it became one. So,
Well, yeah. I guess it's not a man-made geyser, is it?
no.
They hit a pocket of pressurized water.
Going through northern Nevada, there really wasn't much. I mean, there were caches, but nothing necessarily special. Getting back into Oregon in the southeast corner, nothing really I would consider remarkable there. And we already talked about Boise, but when we coming back into Oregon, because I need to get Wallala County, we went through Enterprise, Oregon. You know, long to live,
You made
live
it
long
so?
and prosper.
Live long and prosper.
Let's live long and prosper. So I had to stop at the welcome sign, and we had to take pictures with us, you know, doing that. I'm sure I'm not the only one. I don't know why.
Is that kind of like Vulcan, Alberta? Is the same kind of thing? Like they really play up the Star Trek?
They don't. Enterprise, Oregon doesn't. I think they're missing an opportunity. They really should do that.
Yeah.
But driving from Enterprise to Clarkston, Washington, now that was a fun drive. A beautiful drive too. You you climb in the mountains, and beautiful views. And then you've got to go through these canyons, and the road just goes twisty twiny, up and down, up and down. My SUV is a hybrid, and going down, I was constantly full battery the whole time. So going up, though, it went low pretty quick.
Yeah.
But that was my best gas mileage, was that section.
Oh,
Because
interesting.
the hills. And there was a couple really good caches with good views along there, so that's what we loved.
Nice.
And then after Lewiston Clark, we went to Walla Walla. I had never been to Walla Walla before. I've been to Tri-Cities, but never over to Walla Walla. And it happened to be there was a challenging cache in front of the hotel with going through all the logs. I was having a difficult point. Several people says, "Oh yeah, we just asked the front desk people for hints." So I did it. One guy said, "What's a geocache?"
Yeah.
And then the lady came out. "Are you looking for that geocache?" I'll give you a hint. And it wasn't a giveaway hint, but it was, so that was perfect.
Nice.
But it was enough to find it. But if you're ever in Walla Walla, the hotel that was stayed at was Best Western. Right across the parking lot was the old train station for Walla Walla for the Northern Pacific. And it's now a brewery and a fantastic steak restaurant. And they had patio seating where even at the high-end steak restaurant side, you can have your dog.
Nice.
Really?
So to have a dog at a steak restaurant,
Very nice.
that was,
Torture for the dog.
Yeah,
yeah, he was loving it.
I bet. It smelled very good.
He cleaned all the plates. You didn't need a dishwasher that night.
That's right. Yeah, so Cross Bucks Brewing is the name of the brewery, and the steakhouse is Walla Walla Steakhouse. So I recommend if you're in there. My dog comes up to me every so often. When are we going to the steakhouse?
Yeah. Can we stop at Dutch Brothers on the way?
That's right. That's right.
I'm ready to go right now.
Yeah.
Then along the way home, when we're going up the gorge, I had to go to Wishram, Washington, because I had DNF'd a cache there for the steam locomotive that's parked there a long, long time ago, and I always regretted that. It's like, how can I DNF a train cache? So it's because it wasn't there that day. That's why I felt vindicated. So I was able to get that, so that was good. But we drove home on the Sunday before Labor Day, basically Labor Day Sunday, and I'm glad we did come home a day early, because that Monday, that was smoke-filled Columbia Gorge. Yeah. So it was a gorgeous day that day, so I'm glad we did that.
Wonderful. It sounds like an amazing trip. Kinds of data that you analyzed and collected. Do you have any stats you can share with us if anybody else is thinking about attempting the same muddled chicken approach to those states?
I mean, it's all about the numbers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that's right. So number days. There were 9 days, 5 states, 1,824 miles logged on my car, 5 adventure labs, which counts as 25 finds because each of them had 5. And then there were 94 caches. 64 of them were traditional. One was a multi, there was a multi at the Anne Frank Memorial, which was cool because it brought you to a Jewish temple.
Oh, neat.
Nice.
At the end. So that was kind of neat. And then there was 23 virtual caches. Not all of them were that great, unfortunately, but there were some good ones in there. And then 6 earth caches. And I added 13 counties to my map and finally completed Oregon. So that was the big thing.
Well done.
Go. Yeah, congratulations, man.
Nicely done.
Yep. Takes a lot of planning to do those things, though.
It does.
Yeah. Well, look at what you did. I mean, 9 days, 5 states, 1,800 miles, 99 caches found.
Of course, people do that on the East Coast every day.
Well, yeah.
Well, but like you said earlier, right? Like you could have ran the find count up way higher if that was your goal, but your goal was more to get to the interesting places, and you have, specific requirements you were looking to fulfill around the rail related caches, etc. So yeah, that's cool, man.
It's not about the quantity.
It's about the quality. Yeah.
Unless you're shooting for a milestone.
It's about whatever you want it to be about, really.
That's
exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, thanks for sharing all that with us, Mark. That was that's very helpful. It's something certainly back down there again one day, I'll have that kind of in the back of my mind as a loop we can do for a trip. It sounds like a lot of fun.
It was. Yep.
Nice. Hey, thanks for joining us. You know, Mark, you're one of the guests that people ask me to have you back on. There aren't many guests that are requested. So you're apparently well loved by the community. So thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you.
And folks, we hope you enjoyed this episode of Caching in the Northwest. We've got more great shows coming. There's, in fact, even tonight, while we've been doing the show, I've been working to get you more great shows coming.
Wow. Multitasker.
Sorry.
That's all right. We forgive you. If
No, that's great.
you're working on the next few shows. That's some pretty impressive multitasking. You're going to need to be able to time travel soon.
Ooh.
All right. If only you had a connection on that, eh?
Well, or a mind reading helmet.
Or mind reading helmet, that would work too. Yeah.
How's that going?
Well, I'll tell you what. Now is the time that we would read our minds and take a moment to thank Landsharks, our corporate Denali level sponsor. Landsharks.ca is the outdoor adventure and geocaching store. Check them out online, and remember that they still are shipping orders daily. We also want to thank our faithful Denali level supporters. That's, of course, Landsharks, JP's Geo Designs, Team Squirrel, Groovy Owl, and Cashly. If you want to know more about supporting the show, click the Patreon link over there on the CachingNW.com, a website.
That's right. Like GSM times 2 did.
And Limax.
And Kennel Barb.
Seebeck Tribe.
Keats 94.
Kev MacD.
Boomer 365.
Camp Clan.
Dickamagadit.
Sprouter.
CRS 98.
Sege Hove.
Broncos fan for life.
You Talks to Rocks.
Over there in Gold Country, Trexer Zero.
Fairwood West.
M-Nerve.
Wet Coaster.
Kid Vegas 19.
Log Work.
It was so quiet I couldn't even hear it. And I've got headphones on. How about Genies?
And Teus.
How about T. Sayer?
And Ackerdoc.
Alaro Brick.
The Geo Travelers.
The person we have to apologize to every week because we woke up the baby. Why no, Seattle.
And GeoNav Pros.
And bringing the witty comments in during the podcast, Dora Moore.
And this guy called Subway Mark. It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Oh, Subway Mark. This guy. Yeah. Hey, thank you.
How about Billy Robson?
How about LG?
How about On a Boat?
B. Pendragon.
Team Noltex.
Green Words.
And Land Monkey's favorite rap star, MC3 Cats. All right. Hey, Mark, thank you again for spending time with us and not running away like you were warned to do. The listeners love you, and we love having you around, too. So
Good to be here.
if somebody wanted to reach out and get in touch with you and bypass all of us yahoos, how would somebody do that?
You can find me Subway Mark on gmail.com or Subway Mark at Facebook. But my website's ktransit.com, just to confuse everybody.
All right. I found that. It's a great website.
Thanks.
And you, dear listener, if you're new and you're still trying to figure out who's who, he's Chris of the Northwest, and that's Land Monkey over there. And I'm Wits End. We're all out there on social media. It's not really hard to stumble across us, but there's always the Geocaching Message Center. And tell you what, head over to cachingnw.com/hosts. You can find all kind of information there. Some you probably don't even want to read.
That's
No,
right.
you want to read all of it.
Oh, yeah, you want to read it all.
And we're easy to stumble upon. I mean, we're just laying there like lumps.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Oh, sorry.
He was.
I've been industrious today.
You guys were my friends. Hey, don't forget that you could be part of the show. Call into 253-693-TFTC and leave us a comment, ask us a question, or mail us some moon cheese any time of the day or night. And of course, you can email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. Your support helps keep the quality shows coming. If you like the show, click on the Patreon link on the cashingnw.com website and subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and more. Give us a thumbs up or a review. The show is produced by Chris Umfenauer, Jim Paulwitz, and Jay Kennedy. It's licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2020 by Chris Umfenauer. And folks, I ask you to stay tuned for
a while.
How come it won't do it?
Okay, hang on. The After Show.
That was dramatic.
Wow.
It's playing.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not sure I can hear anymore, but
What?
what?
Well, since we're in the After Show, Keats94 has a fantastic. He says, "How's that wildfire situation down in Oregon?"
Yeah, there's still fires going.
Yeah.
They've released people to go back to their homes up in the Santiam Canyon to Detroit and stuff like that. But Detroit, Oregon, 70% of everything, all the buildings are gone.
Oh,
Wow.
And several other Gates, Oregon, a lot of damage, a lot of stuff gone. The highway is still not open to traffic. Highway 22, that's the closest fire to me. It was pretty bad here in Salem as far as the smoke. Everyone from the Santiam Canyon was evacuated to the state fairgrounds, which is only about a mile from my house. A lot of people in Salem were really helping out these poor folks. It was pretty bad.
It's crazy.
Wow.
But the fires are still there. I think the Beachy Creek one, which is the one nearest me, last I heard was like 30% contained. The Riverside one up by Estacada, that one's like 40% contained, and the Lions Head fire is another one. And then there's one, the Holiday fire. I don't think that's fully contained either.
Holy cow.
Yep. They're not in population centers anymore, so that's the good news. But they're not. They're not. The rains that we had a week ago really helped, but they probably will not go out until the fall rains really get here.
yeah.
Well,
Now-
you would think that's not far off, being in the Northwest. I mean, honestly, it's been an unseasonably long dry stretch.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And thus the reason for the fires, right? You got all this new kindling that's just prime now.
Exactly.
Subway Mark, have the fires been this close to you before?
Never this close. We get seasonal fires up in the mountains every year, but to hit the Santiam Canyon and getting down as far as Gates and Mahama's the closest one. Mahama's about 20 miles, not even, from Salem. So
Wow.
Salem was never under threat because of geographic reasons, but that's kind of scary close.
Wow, and you're doing okay from the smoke? I mean, didn't you have numbers up over 500
Yes.
as far as the air quality index?
Yeah, it was always nice to see. 510 out of scale to 500. That's always nice.
So that's basically solid.
Extra credit.
It was. Yeah, we couldn't go. We couldn't really go outside. And then I have a CPAP machine. I had to change my filters quite often. They were black.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep.
That's just insane.
And thank God it was cooled down, so my air conditioner didn't run. Otherwise, my first filter would have been a mess.
Mm-hmm. Keats94 says, hashtag Fatas, thinking about you folks to the south. Hugs from up north about the wildfires.
It's appreciated. It's appreciated.
I just lost it.
Lost it at the beginning of this show.
Oh. Well, yeah. GSM times 2 says the baby's awake now.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. It's the
Yeah, I was about halfway through the credits there. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Just a service we provide.
That's right.
He also says, 2 of my nearest Earth caches require over 10 miles of hiking. I hope the temperature goes down.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know what the
An
temperature
Earth cache
is
for
like.
10 miles of hiking.
wow. That's dedication.
That's intense. Or, trailers or however they maybe just out under the stars. I don't know how they're sleeping when they're doing their 10 miles of hiking.
That's
bump.
yeah. That's a pretty significant hike. 10 miles. I assume that's return, but still, that is a significant hike. So good on you, man. And yes, I also hope the temperature goes down for you. All right. Well,
Oh, let's see.
wrap for the night here.
I think so. I just checking, and I think we've got it. Without a doubt, Dora Moore wins the night with the clockwise comment.
Yes, that was awesome.
That was good. That was
very good.
And I see GSM times 2 has said that the 10 miles is round trip, but still, that's a long day.
That is.
Folks, until next week, get out, eat some chicken nuggets, and go caching in the Northwest.